A very good evening to all the 11th standard students of St. John's. And yesterday you would have completed your second term test. And even in mathematics, almost everyone has written the test and sent it to me. And your papers will be corrected and will be sent to you shortly. And in the last class we have completed chapter number 7, matrices and determinants. And for your examination I gave some revision problems. I hope you would have gone through that. And very important thing, you should write all the revision problems in a separate notebook called revision notebook, which is a very important thing. Apart from classwork writing, you have to put a separate notebook for revision, long size unrolled notebook, in which all the revision problems has to be written neatly with question and answer. Question black pen, answer blue pen. In revision sums, 50 problems was given to you. So write all the 50 sums with proper number in your revision notebook. It is very important for the examination point of view. You can easily go through all the important problems before going into the examination. So it is must that everyone has to maintain a revision notebook in which what are all the problems I am giving under revision should be neatly done there. Totally so far 50 sums was given. And the 50 sums you have to complete it when you find time. Find time in the sense, take 3 to 4 or 5 days. Within 1 week you have to complete all the 50 sums in your revision notebook. Revision notebook should look similar to your classwork. So no scribbling there. How you maintain your classwork neatly, like in the same way revision notebook should be there. Now in this class we are going to enter into a new chapter called vector algebra, chapter number 8, vector algebra. This is a new concept for you. It is not being taught in your 10th standard also. So first we will start from the definitions and the results, and after that we will enter into the problems. So it is important for you to listen carefully all the theory parts and try to understand the meaning of all the theory parts which is being explained to you. Vector algebra, we know already what is meant by algebra. So vector algebra in the sense, we are going to do algebraic operations on vector. That is the content of the topic. Vector algebra in the sense, we are going to perform algebraic operations on vector. So what we have to know, what is meant by a vector. And before that we will study what is meant by a scalar quantity. And the definition says, it is a quantity which has only magnitude. A quantity which has only magnitude is called as scalar quantity. What is the example? Distance. Suppose I am telling 100 kilometer. Definitely it is having a number. It is having a length. Only it has length. 40 kilometer is nothing but the distance. So it all comes under scalar quantity. Speed, work, mass, everything are examples for scalar quantity. So scalar quantity, what is the meaning? The quantity which is having only magnitude. Magnitude in the sense distance or length. Magnitude means length or number. So scalar means a number. That's all. Vector quantity. It is a quantity having both magnitude and direction. So if a quantity is having two things, one is magnitude, that is length, and also if we know the direction, then that quantity can be called as vector quantity. Example for vector quantity: velocity, force, displacement, etc. Examples for vector quantity. velocity. Suppose we are moving in a car. The car has some velocity and definitely there will be a direction. Yes or no? Definitely there is a direction. Force. When we say force vector, we will represent the direction. So whatever quantity which is having direction as well as length, those quantities can be called as a vector quantity. So I hope you would have understood what is the difference between scalar and vector quantity. Scalar means simply a number, only it has having a length. Vector means it will also have direction addition to length. In addition to length, if a quantity is having direction also, that is called vector. Now in note, two or more vectors are said to be collinear or parallel if they have same line of action or the line of action are parallel. So two vectors are said to be collinear or parallel. For example, I can draw vectors like this. If I compare these two, the line of action are parallel. This is the line of action of first one. This is the line of action of second one. So these two can be called as parallel vector. And if they have same line of action also, then it can be called as collinear. Suppose one vector is here. In the same line of action, suppose I am having another vector. So these two vectors can be called as collinear, lying on the same line of action. And the next one, two or more vectors are said to be coplanar. Two or more vectors are said to be coplanar if they lie on the same plane. Suppose for example, this is the plane. And in the plane, if I am having many vectors, all the three vectors are lying on a same plane. So these three vectors can be called as coplanar vectors. So it is important to understand the meaning of all the definitions right from the beginning. Two or more vectors are said to be collinear or parallel. These two can be called as collinear. These two can be called as parallel. Now two or more vectors are said to be coplanar if they lie on a same plane. In a single plane, if two or more vectors lie, they can be called as coplanar vectors. Now two vectors are said to be equal if they have same magnitude as well as direction. When two vectors are said to be equal, they should have same magnitude, which means they both should have same length, and also they should have same direction. Then only two vectors are said to be equal. Next, two vectors are said to be like vectors if they have same direction. Even parallel vectors can be taken as an example. These two vectors can be called as like vectors because they have same direction. If two vectors are having same direction, then they can be called as like vectors. And two vectors are said to be unlike vectors if they have opposite directions. Suppose if these two are the vectors, one is having this direction and the other one is having the opposite direction, these two can be called as unlike vectors. So hope you're all listening all the definitions properly. Next, triangle law of addition. Triangle law of addition. If two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in order, then their sum is represented by the third side taken in reverse order. Don't get confused while reading the definition. I'll read it slowly once again. If two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in order. For example, see the diagram. This is one vector. This is another vector. So you just go through the definition again. If two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in order. Taken in order meaning is I should not skip. Suppose when I am drawing the diagram, I should not take the pen point out. So if I draw the diagram, this is one vector, means in order the other vector should come. Immediately the other vector should follow. That is called taken in order, or otherwise I can say in same direction. I should go in a same direction. So again I read, if two vectors are represented by the two sides of a triangle taken in order, then their sum means addition, the sum of this and this, that is sum of a vector and b vector, is represented by the third side. So when we add, the addition of these two will come in the third side. That is what the triangle law says. If two vectors are taken as two sides of a triangle taken in order means same direction, taken in order, then the third side is nothing but the sum of these two. A vector plus b vector will be the third side. Look at this sentence, this word, taken in reverse order. Reverse order in the sense these are all same order means same direction, but this addition a plus b will be in the reverse direction. If you compare this direction and this direction, this is opposite direction, but this is in the other side, right? So in short, triangle law of addition is nothing but if two vectors are taken by two sides of a triangle, the third side is nothing but the addition of these two, which is present in the reverse order. So this is a, this is b, therefore this will be a plus b, opposite direction. So this is called what? Triangle law of addition of vectors. Next one, parallelogram law of addition. Before what we have seen, triangle law of addition. This is called parallelogram law of addition. Just look at the statement. In a parallelogram OABC, if OA vector and OB vector represents two adjacent sides. Adjacent sides means the starting point will be the same for two sides. They are called adjacent sides. OA, OB, they both start at O. Such sides are called what? Adjacent sides. In a parallelogram OABC, if OA vector and OB vector represents two adjacent sides, then adjacent sides, what is the meaning? If two sides having the same starting point, then that two sides can be called as what? Adjacent sides. So then the diagonal OC vector, so this is called a diagonal. This diagonal OC vector represents their sum, A plus B. We can write this vector as A vector plus B vector. So this vector will be A vector plus B vector. That is law of parallelogram. Parallelogram law of addition of vectors. What do you understand? If two vectors are taken as two adjacent sides, of a parallelogram, then this diagonal OC vector represents the addition of these two, A vector plus B vector. Now we have understood this. Like triangle law, this is called parallelogram law. If these are the two adjacent sides, this diagonal which starts from the same point O will be the sum of these two, A and B. Then two vectors are said to be parallel, that is two vectors A vector and B vector are said to be parallel if this, in this format, if we can able to write A and B, then I can call they are parallel. Which format? A vector is equal to some constant into B vector, where lambda is a constant. Scalar means number which can be called as a constant. So if A vector is equal to some constant into B vector, then A vector and B vector are said to be parallel. This is the condition for two vectors to be parallel. If two vectors are parallel, this format can be written. That is, one vector is equal to some constant into other vector. This is the condition for parallel. Next, we will see few properties of vectors. M into NA vector, where M, N are nothing but scalars, numbers. M into NA vector can be written as Mn into A vector, or even this can be written as N into Ma vector. So constants can be interchanged in any manner. Mn A vector, or I can say M Na vector, or I can say N Ma vector, all are going to give the same answer. And the next one, M plus N into A vector can be written as Ma vector plus Na vector. So normally in multiplication what we will do, the same thing can be done in vectors also. That is what the property says. Similarly, M into A vector plus B vector can be written as Ma vector plus Mb vector. So normal multiplication rule is applicable in vectors also. That is what these three properties says. Next heading is position vector. Let O be the origin and P be any point in the plane or space. Then the vector OP vector is called the position vector of the point P with respect to the origin O. For example, suppose if this is the point P, this is the origin O, point of reference. Origin in the sense, don't think 0, 0. This is the point of reference for us. From here we are positioning the other vectors. So this is the origin of reference. Suppose if I am having a point P here. So I am talking about the point P with respect to this point O. And this OP vector is called as position vector of the point P. Position vector of the point P with respect to this O. Try to understand, this is important concept. O be the origin or point of reference. P be any point. So P here, even I can take the point P at anywhere. Then the vector OP, this OP vector is called what? Position vector of the point P. So when I say position vector of the point P, we should immediately say it is called OP vector. Suppose I say position vector of the point A, then I'll be thinking of OA vector. If I say position vector of the point B, then immediately I'll think of OB vector. Similarly, position vector of the point P is called as OP vector, where O is the point of reference, right? Where O is the point of reference. This OP vector is called what? Position vector of the point P. How OB vector can be called? OB vector is nothing but position vector of the point B, where O is the point of reference. Then, very important note, AB vector can be splitted as OB vector minus OA vector. Similarly, for example, AC vector can be splitted as OC vector minus OA vector. So these two concepts are very important. AB vector can be written as what? OB minus OA, OB vector minus OA vector. Similarly, AC vector, OC vector minus OA vector. Then how to write AD vector? You just tell the answer within yourself. AD vector, how will you split and write? OD vector minus OA vector, like that. Next, polygon law of addition of vectors. We have already seen two laws similar to this. One is triangle law of addition of vectors. Second one is parallelogram law of addition of vectors. The third, what is the third? Polygon law of addition of vectors. So what this law says? Let us see this law with the help of this diagram. Definitely this is a polygon, right? Because how many sides it is having? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides it is having. So I can call this as a polygon. Yes or no? This is a polygon. 6 sides means even I can call it as a hexagon. Anyway, it is a polygon. What this law says is, suppose we are considering 5 vectors, OA vector, AB vector, even I can put a arrow mark like this, BC vector and CD vector, DE vector. So these are all 5 vectors I have taken, OA vector, OB vector, BC vector, CD vector, DE. If you look at carefully, taken in order. What is the meaning of saying taken in order? Without changing the direction. OA, same direction AB, same direction BC, same direction CD, DE, all are in same direction it goes. Then the last side will be the addition of all the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I add all the 5, that answer will come on this 6th side. OE vector. This is equal to OE vector. But if you observe very carefully, you can easily understand that OE vector is present in the opposite side. See, these are all in same direction, but the resultant is in the opposite direction. So when we add all the 5 sides, we will get the answer in the 6th side. But the direction, if you compare, it will be in the opposite direction of all these things. If these things go in as one direction, this resultant will be in the opposite direction. So this is called polygon law. If 5 sides are taken like this, then the last side will be the addition of all the 5, which is in the opposite direction. So this is called what? Polygon law of addition of vectors. Then very important heading called section formula, internal division. Section formula, internal division. Even in examination, they may ask you state section formula, internal division in 2 marks, or state and prove section formula for internal division, in the sense it may even come in 3 marks or even in 5-mark question. Section formula, internal division. The statement is this: let O be the origin. Origin means point of reference. Let A and B be 2 points. Let P be the point which divides the line segment AB internally in the ratio m:n. If A vector, small a vector and small b vector are the position vectors of the points A and B, then the position vector OP of P is given by OP vector is equal to MB vector plus NA vector by M plus N. So now we read the definition once again. With the help of diagram, we will try to understand the meaning. Let O be the origin or point of reference. So this point is called as point of reference. What is this point? This point O is called as point of reference. So let O be the origin. Let A, capital A and capital B be 2 points. So A and B are nothing but 2 points. What they are saying is, let P be the point which divides the line segment AB. So AB is the line segment and P is the point which divides the line segment AB. I'll explain it again. O is the point of reference, origin. A and B are the 2 points. We are drawing the line segment AB. P is a point which divides this line segment AB internally in the ratio m:n. So P, what the point P does, it divides the line segment AB into 2 parts. What is the ratio? M and n, m:n. Internal division means the point P will lie inside AB. That is called internally. If small a vector and small b vector are nothing but position vectors of capital A and capital B. Before itself I said position vector definition we have just gone through. I said it is important definition, you have to listen it carefully. So what is the statement here? Small a vector and small b vector are the position vectors of these 2 points. What is the meaning? A is a point. I am connecting that with O. So this OA vector is called as small a vector. Similarly, the point B is connected with O because O is the point of reference. I'm just connecting this. This OB vector is called B vector. So what is B vector? It is the position vector of the point B with respect to O. What is this A vector, or what is OA vector? It is the position vector of the point capital A with respect to O. So that is what the theorem says. O is the point of reference. A and B are 2 points. This AB is the line segment. The point P divides this line segment in the ratio m is to n. Then the position vector of the point P, which is called OP, this OP vector can be given by the formula m into B vector plus n into A vector by m plus n. This is what called section formula for internal division. This is the result for section formula for internal division. This is statement. What the statement says: O is the origin, A and B be the 2 points, AB is the line segment, the point P divides the line segment AB in the ratio m is to n. Then the position vector of the point P, that is OP vector, is given by the formula m into B vector plus n into A vector by m plus n. So this is called section formula for internal division. So to prove this, we'll start like this. OA vector is given as A vector, OB vector is nothing but B vector. So from the diagram, I can say that AP by PB, this by this can be written as m by n, right? Because AP means m, PB means n. So AP by PB can be written as m by n. Cross multiplying this, you will be getting n into AP is equal to m into PB. This is nothing. I've just struck it out. N into AP equal to m into PB. Now I am going to take vector on both sides. N, which is a number, so I cannot put a vector symbol for that. So n will remain. Just taking vector here because AP is nothing but direction. Similarly, PB vector. Now what we are doing here? Taking vector on both sides. How to write AP vector? Before itself I said AP vector, how to split and write? OP vector minus OA vector. Just before we have seen this definition. So using that, AP is written as OP minus OA equal to m into, similarly PB is written as OB minus OP. Now what I am going to do next step is bringing n inside and m inside. So what will come? NOP minus NOA equal to MOB minus MOP, right? Just bringing n and m inside the brackets, we are going to write the next line. So as I said, bringing n inside and m inside the brackets, we get this line. Now just bring this last term to other side, minus becomes plus, so m into OP, and this term is written plus n into OP equal to, here it is m into OB, bring this term to other side, it becomes plus. So minus terms are interchanged the sides so that you will get this line. And take OP vector as common from these two, balance is m plus n, and here just write that. Now OP vector can be written as m into, what is OB vector? We know very well from the diagram, OB vector is called B vector, OA vector is called A vector, right? So m into B vector plus n into OA vector is nothing but A vector. I'm bringing this m plus n to other side, becomes division, so m plus n. So this is what we wanted to prove. OP vector. What is OP vector? Position vector of the point P with respect to O is given by the formula m into B vector plus n into A vector by m plus n. So hence we have proved section formula for internal division. Similarly, we are having section formula for external division. We will read this without proof. Same definition. Let O be the origin, A and B be the 2 points, let P be the point which divides the line segment AB. The difference lies here. Externally. There we studied internally. Here the point P divides the line segment externally in the ratio m is to n. Then OP vector is given by, here OP vector is given by this formula. In external division, OP vector is given by, just minus will come in both the sides, both numerator and denominator. So if you see, MB vector minus NA vector by m minus n. Hope you would have understood. The only difference between external and internal division is internal means plus symbol will come. For external division, minus sign will come. Next note, put m is equal to n is equal to 1 in star. So this result is taken as star. And in this star, if we replace m and n by 1, what happens? What is m and n? Suppose if I am drawing the diagram here once again. For example, this is the diagram. This is the point P and this is the ratio m is to n. If these two becomes 1 and 1, what is the meaning? The point P becomes midpoint, right? If these two are equal, 1 is to 1, m is 1, n is 1, what is the meaning? This length and this length are equal, then automatically the point P becomes midpoint. So in this result, if I put m and n as 1, m is equal to 1, n is equal to 1 in star, we will get OP vector is equal to, this becomes 1, this also becomes 1. So A vector plus B vector divided by 1 plus 1, 2. Now the position vector of the point P is given by the formula A vector plus B vector by 2. But what is P? P is the midpoint. So this is nothing but which is the position vector of the midpoint P, which is the position vector of the midpoint P. So this formula is nothing but position vector of the point P, but P will be the midpoint. So hereafter, what is the position vector of midpoint means? What we have to say? A vector plus B vector by 2. What is A vector? One side. What is B vector? Other side. So just add and divide by 2. We will get the position vector of the midpoint P. So from this result, we are deriving this midpoint position vector formula. So with this we stop, and we will continue with our problems in the next video, next class. Thank you, children.